Okay. I am pretty sure that no one can see me. Awesome sauce. I don't know why. I feel like we've had this problem before with this laptop. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on. Hmm. Hmm. Sorry, guys. I am working on it. Really. Think I figured out the issue. Not that it helps us right now. All right. Thankfully, there is actually a PowerPoint for this training. So if you can hear me, if you would do me a favor and go ahead and drop a comment in the chat bar. I have my second setup running. So if you could drop a comment in the chat bar and let me know if you can hear me. I realize you can't see me. No one? Okay. I see that there are 3 people watching. That's what it is. You have to sign into chat. Aha. Aha, aha, aha. Okay, so if somebody could drop a comment on the in the Facebook group underneath the training link to let me know that you are on and you can hear me, it would be greatly appreciated. Aha. Perfect. Thank you, Kate. Okay. Hopefully, I'm trying one more thing. Hopefully, this will work. Otherwise, you're just going to get to look at the PowerPoint and not me, which some of you are probably like, well, okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Okay. Mm. Okay. No, still nothing. All right. Forget it. We are going to just do it this way. I hate when plans don't work. It makes me change everything around. All right. Today's topic is how to get the most out of your fam. So I'm going to go ahead and start this PowerPoint and then okay. So share my screen. There we go. Share. All right. And if somebody could tell me if you can see the PowerPoint, just let me know if you are able to view the PowerPoint that is currently showing on the screen. Again, the Facebook group works. You just want to, Oh, awesome. Trisha was able to tell me. Okay. So let me know if you can see, it should say on your screen, how to get the most out of your fam. No, it's not a vacation. Yes, you can work in paradise. Okay, perfect. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So basically, the timing of this particular training is very intentional. This training is really the retreat is in and of itself a type of a FAM trip. For those of you that are new to the business, a FAM stands for familiarization trip. It is usually when a vendor, a supplier, or an area will offer you a discounted rate or an option to come down and tour the properties, get to know what's going on, get to know what you're going to get out of your clients will get out of a hotel, region, area, etc. So one thing I want to, and the longer you're in this business, the more you will hear this. And I've taken FAMs all over. I mean, I spent 2 weeks in Hawaii on a FAM. Yes, it was paradise. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It is very easy to forget that you're at work. But no, it's not a vacation. It is not for you to relax, for you to go try every Mai Tai bar. It is work, and you need to remember that, and you need to act accordingly. So that is what we're going to go over here. Now, I will say the first part of this is best practices, which is also kind of the what not to do's as well. These are all taken from examples that I have seen on FAMs. And like I said, I've done more than I can count. And these are all taken from real life examples. So when you start to think to yourself, who would ever do that? Somebody has, and I saw it. These are also cultivated not only, I've gotten to know a lot of suppliers, both from a TO. I actually did a go-go FAM. And so I got to know their VPs and their senior sales staff and what really annoys them and what they hear from suppliers when a FAM leaves. I've talked to a lot of hotel managers and things that annoy the bejeepers out of them. So what I wanted to do was kind of pass all of this information on to you so that you know kind of the best practices, some ideas, how to make the most of your FAM or your retreat, as the case may be. But I also wanted to say, you have all, or a lot of you have done an agency retreat before, or you have done a FAM with me. And I am super happy to say that these are not really issues that we've seen as an agency ourselves. So before you think I'm calling anybody on the carpet, I'm not. This is more about just generalized best practices. Okay, so without further ado, best practices. This training is broken up into 3 parts. Best practices, know before you go, and how to pick the right FAM. So best practices. Professional courtesy. This is a big one for me. It's a big one when I've talked to hotel managers, to sales staff, things like that. Number 1, be on time. It's a professional courtesy that just runs across the board. Are there going to be times where you could not predict that I-95 was shut down and you had to detour through the backwoods of South Carolina? Yeah, there are. And that is an extenuating circumstance. Always know who your host is or who your contact is, so that if something like that does happen, that you can shoot them a text message or give them a quick call. Not while driving, no. Don't do it while driving. Have your business cards on you. Patricia's going to laugh because I stink at this one. This is my own personal Achilles heel. I have business cards on me now about 80% of the time. 20%'s a kicker though. And it's just one of those things. I usually keep a business card holder. And when it runs out, I don't know it until I open it. Or if I change purses. But the moral of the story is, if you know you are going on a FAM, specifically you have, set up a time to leave your home. You're going to a vacation destination to work. Make sure you have a stack of business cards on you, and they are not to hand out to prospective clients. Dear Lord, this isn't in my notes, but we're going to go ahead and say this now. While you are on a FAM, actually, while you are on vacation, do not solicit business. Do not hand out your business card. Do not tell people, oh, I do this for a living, blah, 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 blah. You reflect poorly on yourself and you reflect poorly on the agency. I've seen it happen. It happens every year at Earmarked. There is at least a handful of agents who walk around the parks handing out business cards. Do not be that person, because you and I will be having a conversation when you get back. Okay. Sorry. That soapbox can go away for now. Follow the lead of the person hosting the tour. What do I mean? What I mean is they have a set route. They have a set time. Do not start, as they start walking down, we're going to use the example of Art of Animation, just because it's an easy example to use. As they start walking away from the main building to go down towards Little Mermaid, so they come out of that, the name of it's absolutely escaping me, the main hub, and they turn left, and all of a sudden you go right because you want a better picture of the pool. Don't be the person turning right. You will have your time. They will show you the parts of the hotel you need to see. And if you don't see them on your specific site tour, you can look at them when you are done. Do not be the person who goes in the other direction. I have seen this on FAMs where an agent literally just walks in the other direction. And now you have taken time from the rest of the group because they have to chase you down. It happened on a FAM I was on, and they literally got off of the bus and they went in the other direction. So one of the people, there were 2 FAM hosts, one of them had to go corral the person who walked away. So now the rest of the group is standing where we're supposed to be, twiddling our thumbs. So that person was not being courteous of our time, was not being courteous of the host's time, and was not being a good representative of their agent, because now we're all irritated as get out that this woman thinks that she is above everybody else and she can just go do what she wants. Okay. There's going to be a lot of soapboxes in this one, just so you know, be prepared, because each one requires me to relive a moment where I wanted to smack someone silly. Okay. This one, it's pet peeve of mine, but it is not, yeah, exactly. So somebody isn't paying attention, they wander off to another part of the ship. And if you do this on the Oasis, you are going to be so lost. That ship is ginormous. It's the size of a city. So anyway, do not block the pictures of other agents. So particularly in a hotel room, if you're outside taking pictures of a lobby, of a swimming pool, whatever, there's going to be people in your pictures, most likely. You're going to have to frame it as best you can. Don't be the agent who sees somebody setting up a picture and just won't move. Move out of their way. If you are in a site inspection and you go into a hotel room, there are a lot of agents who want to take pictures of the room. And we're going to go over in a little bit why that is both a good idea and not a good idea. But you'll always get one person who literally stands in the middle of the bedroom and doesn't move. And you're like, hi, I just want a picture of that really cool seashell lamp. Can you move? And they're like, I have nowhere to go. Don't be that person. The other thing is, be aware when you are in the bathroom that there's mirrors everywhere. So if you're making this face behind somebody's back, they can see you. So don't block the pictures of other agents. Don't be the agent. Here's the other thing that goes with this. Don't be the agent blocking the room taking the pictures. So when the tour guide opens the door, don't be the person who stands in the doorway and takes a picture. It's not the time, it's not the place, because there are 5, 10, 15 people lined up behind you, and they're not going to get that same picture because you're going to take your picture and walk in. So now they have a picture of the room with you in it. So you were not a good human. Okay. Behavior. Again, a lot of these seem like common sense, and a lot of you are going to be like, why would you do that? And again, I have a story behind each of these. I'm not going to tell all my stories, but don't be these humans. These humans make me angry. Do not sit on the furniture. It is not your room. Do not sit on the bed. Do not pull out the chair. Do not. You are there as a guest. That room is ready for someone to check in. So here's what you have to understand. They are showing you a room that housekeeping has already made up, and they are waiting for someone to check into. If you sit on that bed, housekeeping now has to come back in. You are not likely to be invited back on a fan, or to the agency will not be invited back on a fan if you are going to be the person who comes in and sits on the furniture. Don't do it. No one needs to see your butt prints on the bedspread. Okay, moving on. Do not put things in trash cans. It is not your hotel room. Put it in your purse, put it in your shoe. I don't care. Don't put it in the trash can in the room. Do not leave a half-drunk soda sitting on the corner of the dresser in the room. Again, real life examples. And for the love of all that is holy, do not use the restroom when you go into a room. True story. I was in a villa. It was a 3-bedroom villa. This thing rents for about $9,000 a night in Hawaii. And I was there with a group of agents. One of them was an older gentleman. And we are all standing in the great room, because this villa had a great room that opened up onto the ocean. And we're hearing all the features and the benefits and the amenities. And then we hear, and he walks out of the bathroom. He used the bathroom in a $9,000 a night villa that he wasn't staying in. Do not be that human. You and I will be having words if you are that human. If you have to go to the bathroom that badly, you will make a note, and as soon as you are out of the room, you will ask where the closest restroom is. Be respectful of the host's time. Again, this goes back to, don't be the person who wanders off on the ship, and especially something like a ship tour or even a site tour where you're seeing hotel rooms. You are on a strict time crunch. So while you might want to take the picture with nobody in the room, you might not have time, and you just need to get over it. Do not ask 1,000 questions that you could easily find the answers to for yourself. Pay attention when they talk. I mean, I know these all sound super simple, sound like something like, why would she tell us this? Does she think we're kindergartners? No, but these are things that I've encountered. Also understand, those of you who were on the Universal tours last year, Gustavo had a limited amount of time, and we actually got further along than we were anticipating, because we were respectful of his time. We didn't dawdle, we didn't, and so we got to see some cool other things. He took us out for lunch, which was not, Patricia and I are both staring at each other like, did you know about this? I didn't know about this. So be respectful of your host's time, and know that, somebody like Gustavo, he is the senior VP of luxury sales for Universal Resorts. It's a big title, and it comes with a lot of responsibility. He had other meetings. They have other places to be. Hotel managers, when they're giving you a site tour, probably have other appointments after you. So be respectful of other people's times. Decorum and dress. I'm going to talk about it because I always do. And I will say, I have always been so proud of how our agents present themselves. So this is more to put it on the record. I have never had any issue, just before anybody thinks. Dress professionally. You do not need to wear a suit and heels. I wouldn't recommend wearing a suit and heels. On something like a ship tour or a site inspection for a hotel, you are doing a lot of walking, and you're doing a lot of walking fast. Can you do it in heels? Yes, I have. I don't recommend it though. I also used to walk backwards up a mountain in heels when I was a tour guide in college, so it doesn't really bother me as much as some other people. So you don't need to wear a suit and heels, but leggings and flip-flops aren't okay. Find a happy medium, capris and a button down. And if you are, and I know I can hear Jen. I can hear, do you hear you, Jen? All the way from New Jersey, I can hear you. But my flip-flops are nice. Fine. If your flip-flops are nice, you may wear them. Here are your rules. If you have nasty ass toes hanging out of them, you're gonna hear it from me. If your flip-flops are the junk flip-flops that I buy at like the dollar bin at Old Navy, I don't want to see them on your feet. And so help me God, if you scrape or flop, you will get the death stare, like the mother death stare. You are not seriously doing that. I don't want to hear them scrape on the ground. Pet peeve. Okay, moving on. Don't dawdle behind the group, even if you're looking for just the right picture. Like I said, there will be time later. Speak and present yourself professionally. We all are well aware Mel can have a potty mouth, but I don't when I'm on site because it's not appropriate. So that's where we are on that. Go back into my comments. Okay. I'm sure I didn't miss any comments. Cool. So more best practices. Now, these are the best practices that you're probably like, okay, are you done yelling at us? Yes, I'm done. How to use a FAM to generate leads in business. So this isn't just about you get to go explore. This is about how do you turn it into money? Because let's face it, you're not buying bread at the grocery store with happy, warm thoughts. So post about where you're going. FAMs are a great time to utilize social media. You also want to use your FAM for the newsletter intro. So post about where you're going. I know Patricia challenged all of the agents in our group to post about the retreat to start that buzz. So post about where you're going. Post about what you're doing. You guys are going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Post about it. If you are, when I was in, so if I did a Hawaii FAM, I hiked to the top of Diamond Head. I posted about it. I climbed down, actually. And yes, it was climbing to the base of a waterfall and got to go swimming. I couldn't bring my phone with me because I was climbing in a waterfall in my bathing suit, but I posted about it. So post about what you're doing. Now, here's where I'm going to caution you about that perfect hotel room shot. I'm going to be honest. No one but other travel agents really care. Unless there's something so particularly spectacular or so particularly heinous about a hotel room. A hotel room's a hotel room. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's rare that I take pictures of the inside of a hotel room unless it's a really cool detail. I have pictures of the faucets inside the princess rooms at Port Orleans, but the room itself, like the regular rooms, I don't have pictures of them because you know what? They look just like the hotel rooms at Coronado Springs, different color. A hotel room is a hotel room. And I'll be honest, most people don't care. They care about the view from the hotel room. They care about the amenities in the hotel room. But the square footage and where the dresser is, and nope, you're doing that to preen your own feathers. No one cares. Do I care? Yes, because they are sometimes very useful in newsletter articles. But other than that, nope. The grounds, the views, the amenities. If there's a really cool detail in the room, that's awesome. But you don't just want to show a ton of pictures of hotel rooms because You're like, this is, and especially if you've ever done a tour at a Sandals or beaches, you will see 8,000 types of hotel rooms. And they're like, this is the junior walkout oceanfront view. And this is the deluxe ocean facing. And you're literally, they're the same exact rooms. Like you saw 17 room categories. There was like 3 differences. Until you're up in the millionaire suite, there's 3 differences. So if you have an entire photo album of room pictures, you're not really selling it. Show yourself having fun. Show the grounds. Show people splashing in the pool. Make sure you can't really see their faces because then you get into other issues. Show the pool. Show the grounds. Show the hammocks. Paint the picture of the vacation. And think about it, aside from honeymooners who may use the hotel room more than others, do you spend much of your time on a vacation in a hotel room? No, you're out doing things. So go showcase what there is to do. So that is, I rant on that. Okay, I see you. Yep. So, and what Patricia, if you're following along with the comments in the Facebook group, wrong mouse, sorry. Post on your personal page too. Don't post at the fam. Don't post it. A post like this couldn't hurt. So what I'll do is when I went down to Earmarked, I'm pretty sure somewhere on there is a picture of me with a drink in my pink ears, sitting in a bar with my friend Gail, who's the bartender over there. And it's a picture and I'm smiling and it's on my personal page. It's not on my business page. And it said, who knew work could be so much fun? Or no, I take that back. It was a picture of me and my friend Liz. Who knew work could be so much fun, having fun, enjoying a drink and chatting business with my friend Liz. And I tagged my business page. She tagged her business page. It was like a joint post. It went to all of the DDT people and all of the SLT people. There's a lot of T's in there. But it was just a fun picture. It was like, hey, I'm out at Top of the World Lounge and, having a business meeting. And we did it last year. From those of you who were at the retreat last year. On my personal page is the picture of all of us enjoying our ginormous fruity drinks at Trader Sam's with Mel and her giant straws, where I had to stand above the table to drink from my giant submarine. Post pictures like that. If you're at Turks and Caicos, Patricia had a picture of herself, and I think it was like a book and there probably wasn't even alcohol in it, knowing her. I don't understand. But it was like this fruity, foo-foo, strawberry-looking thing, and a book, and the white sand, and the turquoise, and I'm not a fan of the toe pictures. I know everyone loves the toe pictures. It bothers me. Don't like feet. It's years of dancing. Don't like feet. But she painted the picture. She's like, my boys are old enough to fend for themselves. I'm sitting on the beach enjoying a book and a drink. She painted a picture. And you know what? She sold 2 beaches. She was like, how do I do that? Because that's what people are asking. They're like, ooh, I want to do that. Make people want to do that. Okay. So you also want to have an out-of-office autoresponder on your email. If you don't know how to set it up, ask me. But you want to post that you're on a FAM. Hey, thanks for contacting me. I will get back to you. It's going to take me a little longer than normal to get back to you. I am, hey, Chelsea, where's your, no, we're on a different thread now. Hold on, let me bring Chelsea to the right thread. Okay. I'm trying here, people. There's like 8,000 items open on my desk right now. Fireworks shows. It says fireworks shoes. I was very confused. Okay, so an autoresponder. You want to tell people it might take me a little bit longer. I am out learning about insert something really cool here. I never write. I'm at Walt Disney World. If I'm on personal vacation, and I do it with personal vacation, Oh, sorry. I wish you Starbucks, but no pumpkin spice lattes because, ugh. I'm with Kendra. She and I are peppermint girls. But anyway, I digress. Like a tsetse fly today. Anyway, so talk about where you're going. You know, an out of office on your phone is also a good idea because when you're on the ship tour, when you're in a site inspection, never answer your phone. Never, ever answer your phone. I should have put that in the decorum. Turn it off. Turn the ringer off. Put it on silent. Don't check your text messages. It's an hour and a half. It's, the end of the world isn't happening. I will tell you a funny story about that in a moment. But so when I was in Hawaii, it was like, aloha, I'm learning all about the islands. I will be gone for 2 weeks and I'm on a time zone that I can't even recognize. So bear with me. If it's urgent, please contact so-and-so. If I'm in Disney World, I'm like, so I know it's been a whole 3 months since I've been down here, but so much has changed. And I'm just excited to go try the new food and wine kiosks or whatever it is. Spice it up. Tell them why you're not talking to them. Tag people who think would enjoy your destination. And this is what works on the personal side. So Patricia posted that picture of her fruity drink and her book, and she tags 2 of her girlfriends who she's been talking to about her upcoming trip. And she's like, see, told you it was paradise, whatever the case may be. Tag people who you think would enjoy it. Now, don't be one of those spammy humans and tag like 22 people in the post. Don't do that. That's a spammy human. We don't like spammy humans. So I'm going to backtrack quickly to the point of do not turn your cell phone on. Do not check your Facebook messages. Do not check your text messages. There are times and there are places, and when you're on, and like I will live post, never live stream either. Do not live stream a site inspection. It is not the time or place. Drives me bananas. I was with people on a fam and they live streamed the entire time the site inspection. They're like, and now we're walking into the exclusive Butler Suite Ocean Villa. And I'm like, really? Can you stop? Don't do that. Yeah, you can live without your phone for an hour and a half on the ship, 3-4 hours. Probably isn't going to work anyway. So I had to, when I was in Earmarked, I was in Disney World. Like I was in a conference room, but we had to seal our phones up. Most of you probably heard this. We had, if you've ever been inside a skiff or if you've ever worked in a skiff, you can't have your phones in the building. And if you do, there are certain ones where there's these special pouches that prevent transmissions and all of that. We didn't have anything quite that fancy, but we did have these special little seal bag thingies that you had to check and all of that. And 2 separate occasions during Earmarked. Once, every phone in that room sealed in a bag so no one could get to it to see what was going on. A tornado alert was issued for wherever we were, so it was set off by the GPS, and so the entire room's going, and no one knew why. Obviously, we all survived. It was fine. If there was a true emergency, I'm pretty sure Disney would have come in and told us to take cover. A couple hours later, I'm coming out of a meeting. I opened my phone and it had been sealed in a bag. I had 5 missed calls and 20 some odd text messages because my daughter had broken her stinking arm, leg, ankle. I don't remember what she broke. See, this is how important it was. She was fine. The moral of the story is you didn't leave your children home to suffer on their own. They will be fine. It's an hour, I promise. Okay. So consider, back to the point at hand, consider a promotion based around your fam. What do I mean by this? So a giveaway or an incentive that is based around the location you just visited to increase sales for that location. You can always do a gift card, never hurts. If you're doing, Disney World, maybe you do a Disney gift card. If it's Disney World, maybe you do autograph books. Maybe you do ears. There's a good likelihood that the client's going to book far enough in advance, and there's a Shop Disney app. So maybe you say for anybody who books I don't know, a Disney World vacation, whatever your stipulations are, before the end of September is going to, yeah, exactly, the food and wine years. But don't just make it about a single giveaway. You can do it across the board. You know, any client who books a vacation worth $4,000 or more can choose from these 3 years. So consider doing that as well. Giveaways are great and they will help drive traffic temporarily, but consider increasing sales, not just likes and clicks. So, know before you go. Research your destination and your location. Now I get, for the retreat, you're going to Disney World. Y'all pretty much know what that's about. If you don't know what that's about, we're going to have some different words. So, but if you, let's say last year we did Universal, you know, and a lot of you weren't, part of the reason we did Universal last year is a lot of you weren't as familiar. But you need to do a little bit of homework before. Don't just show up, and Central Florida is a little bit easier, but if you're going to, and let's say you're doing one of the CFAMs, which are the Sandals Educational Experience FAMs, and let's say you're doing Jamaica. There's a lot of Sandals properties on Jamaica. So you kind of want to know the setup of the island. You don't want to get in the car in Mobay. Let's say you fly into Mobay and you're like, well, you're going to Sandals Montego Bay. Awesome. You're in that car for, I don't know, a hot dang second. Now let's say you get in the car and you're going to Sandals Negril. I hope you realize that you are not going to be in that car for a hot dang second. You're going to be in that car for a hot dang second. Because, so know where you're going. Have some basic layout. If you're doing a Sandals, say, let's go back to the example of the CFAM. And for the Jamaican ones, you're usually seeing 2 to 3 resorts on Jamaica. Know which ones you're going to. Don't just show up and be like, you know, if you're doing all of the ones in Montego Bay area, don't be like, well, why aren't we going to Ochi? Or why aren't we going to, usually you'll see 2 sets, or, you know, no, do a little bit of homework. You know, same with, let's say you go down to the Bahamas and you're like, well, why aren't we seeing Emerald Bay? Well, because it's not here. You know, and I've done a decent amount of FAMs where people don't have any, you get on the plane and people are like, it's only like a 20-minute ride. And you're like, it's like a 3-hour plane ride to your next island. I'm not quite sure what map you're using. Maybe you are doing the Muppets Travel by Map, but that's not how this plane works. Sit down, buckle in, and pull out a laptop or something because you can watch a movie. Anyway, here's the next thing. Know what you want to know. I know it sounds weird, but know what you want to know. There are certain things you're going to learn on a FAM that you don't care about, and that's okay. If you don't do weddings, if you have no intention of ever doing weddings, okay, either somebody just wrote 8,000 comments and my phone's finally catching up with all the comments. My phone's catching up with comments. Okay. If you don't do destination weddings and you get down to, I don't know, let's say Cancun, and they want to show, you know, and on a FAM in Mexico is huge for destination weddings, and they want to show you all of the different wedding spots. If you are on a general FAM where it's not, you know, obviously for Simple Luxuries, we don't do a ton of destination weddings. It's not something we're going to set up. But if you do if you're on a general fam where you're with a bunch of other agents from a bunch of other agencies, they're going to show you their popular wedding sites. If it's not your jam, don't stress about it. You can take some pretty pictures, put them up on social media. Maybe you'll get a bite. Who knows? Maybe you're like, I'm not even going to chance the fact that a bride's going to call me because those people are wackadoodles. But know what it is you want to know. If you are that wedding person, let's say, and you're down in Florida, let's say you take a tour of the Four Seasons where they do some beautiful weddings. They're not going to show that to you right off the bat. You have to know that you want to know about it. Ask about it. So make a list. I know everyone hates Mel and her lists. My lists keep everybody organized. It's good. Make a list of what you want to know, whether it's the size, the amenities, the cancellation policies, guest experiences, wedding venues, dining offerings, whatever the option is. What isn't? Yes, wedding is pain. Whatever it is that you want to know, and then ask the questions that aren't included on your FAM. So if you do want to know about what their policy is for upgrades at the resort, and they don't tell you, ask. If you want to know what their accommodations are for weddings and can they hold, a 500-person wedding, and they don't tell you, ask. You might not get to see the venue because sometimes there was a point in time where I actually did work with brides. It was a crazy and bizarre time in my life, and I don't need to go back and do it. But I went and Patricia and I saw the wedding space at the Four Seasons. We saw the event space, and it wasn't included because they were setting up for an event or breaking down for an event. I don't remember which. But we got to at least go over and see how it's separated. Sometimes that's important, whether or not you do a wedding. If their venue is in the center of the hotel and you have clients who are looking for quiet and relaxing, and you have a wedding venue in the middle, it changes the dynamic of a hotel. So, we saw this venue and it worked out well. She said, I didn't set it up on the tour, but here's all of our meeting information. And I got a whole big package of that. So know what it is you want to know and have a plan to get the information. So have a plan for how you take notes, what you want photos of, and questions that you may have. So I am a big proponent of taking notes, and it's hard on FAM. I'm not going to lie, because you're not quite sure how you're walking and writing, and it's a thing. I am lucky insofar as I can write on my phone. So what I do is I snap the picture, or I just leave a note open and I will pull my little stylus out and I will write on my phone. I will also create lists that I keep in my documents on my phone that are what I want pictures of, questions I have. And so if I write my questions out on my phone, when the host answers my questions, whether or not I've specifically asked them, but if he tells me, guests it's a deposit, there's a credit card guarantee, and then they can take out the guitar and amp and take it and blah, blah, blah. I can write that down right there. Like, is a credit card required? The answer is yes, because they don't trust you, and they shouldn't. Things like that, is alcohol included in such and such a plan? And if I have those questions and they're answering them as we're talking and walking and exploring the resort, I can put them right in so I know I have the answers and I don't have to go back and ask them later. By the same token, unless you're getting conflicting information online, don't ask for questions that you can answer by looking at their website. Look at their website first. That goes into doing your research. And then when you've looked at it and you're like, but that doesn't make sense to me, then ask the question. So again, and I try to draw from actual experiences to give you examples here. So in the Moana Surfrider, there is a club level, and it's the way it's worded on their website, and I don't know if they've changed it, but the way it's worded on their website, it sounded like anybody can basically just buy the club pass. It's not tied to a specific floor, a specific room type. It's an added paid for amenity, and it sounded like anybody could just order it. And so I asked those questions, and the answer was yes, they can, and no, they can't. It is tied to a length of stay requirement, and there's only a certain number, and who has priority, and all of that good jazz. But there was something about how it was worded on the website that didn't make sense to me. So I asked about it. There's a difference between that and asking, how many rooms does your hotel have? Really? Number one, does it matter? And number two, I'm pretty sure the website tells you. Okay. Moving on. Picking the right fam. The agency retreat. It's an awesome choice. Why, yes, I do think you should go on the agency retreat. The agency retreat in general is something, this is Patricia's baby. So I'm not going to claim to have as much knowledge. But what she does, and she and I will talk about them and kind of plan out ideas. And then she does the nitty gritties of it. But it's to bring you information that you might not otherwise have, but should need. And so things like last year, we looked at the hotels at Universal because we noticed that we were getting a lot of questions about, Express Pass with Cabana Bay, and understanding that our agents didn't necessarily have that vision of what Universal was really like because they hadn't been there. And if you're so familiar with Disney that you could give guided tours in your sleep, and it was something that I've been to Universal a bunch of times, but my kids had never been, and they were blown away. So sometimes, when you stop and you look at it from somebody else's perspective, so if you can give guided tours of Disney like the back of your hand, like my daughter could. And so I say, well, we're going to start in Studios because that has the early hours. And then I think we're going to, if we do that for the first hour, by then the Hogwarts Express should be running and we can go over to Islands of Adventure. She was like, how long is that going to take? I'm like, I don't know, about 5 minutes. It shouldn't be crowded yet. And it didn't dawn on me that she didn't realize it's literally a little train and you walk it back and forth and you can walk between the parks without any real difficulty. There was one day I was supposed to meet Chelsea in Universal Studios. Actually, I was supposed to meet her in Islands of Adventure in Hogsmeade, but Mel didn't know her way around Universal back then. And so I just walked in. I was staying in Portofino when I walked in the first gate I got to, which, in case you're wondering, is the studio side of the world, not the Islands of Adventure side of the world. And I get in and I'm walking and Chelsea calls me and she goes, are you here yet? I'm like, yeah, I'm almost there. I just passed the Mummy. And she was like, you are on the wrong side of the park. And I think it took me like 5 minutes from that point. And I took the Hogwarts Express. And now most of you have ridden that, it's like a 6-mile walk just through that queue. So it's so much more compact. Anyway, I digress. But Patricia's right. Our sales rose by 150% because you guys were talking about it with so much more understanding and conviction. And you could talk about the Unlimited Express Pass, and you could talk about, well, yeah, we did kill it that day. So you were able to discuss Universal with so much more understanding of what the resorts were like and where they sat and who they would cater to, because you had that knowledge about Disney already, but you needed that knowledge about Universal to sell it successfully. So the moral of that story was Patricia does a really good job at cultivating what you need. Same with Discovery Cove and SeaWorld. And then this year, really focusing on two sides, the Disney Springs Hotel, because we're seeing a big uptick in that, and then getting us a ship tour for Oasis, where this is really the class of Royal Caribbean ship that we're selling the most. And so a chance to go see really the size and scope of this ship compared to, even if you've cruised in the past, if you haven't cruised on this behemoth, it's night and day. So the other way to pick the right fam for you is locations you sell, but you're not familiar with. So if you sell a lot of Bahamas trips, whether it's Sandals or Baha Mar or Atlantis, and you sell it, but you're constantly asking questions or you're constantly referring to the website, it's going to help you to take that fam to really solidify, and you'll see if you're already selling it, you're going to see your sales increase. And finally, locations you have an interest in selling more of or with more confidence. You're always going to sell something better when you know it, when you've been there, when you can talk about it. I can talk about Jamaica until I'm blue in the face. And so I can talk about Atlantis until I'm blue in the face. I don't love it, but I've been there. I can talk about it. I can tell you where things are. I can tell you that if you were going to not keep a close eye on your children, they're going to get lost. So if you want to know more about an area, if you want to know more about, let's say you want to sell Mexican Mayan Riviera Maya, and you've never been there. Well, if you're like, but I'm not really selling it. Well, you're not going to sell it either until you can talk about it and talk about how far it is from Cancun and how far it is from the hotel zone and why it's different than being on the strip in Cancun, and what sets it apart. And so you're really going to learn to distinguish yourself, and a fam will help you with that. And this was me. This was Mel. This was this is where I lived. Locations that you quote often but don't close the sales on. For those of you who have done the Hawaii destination training and then the the specializations for the islands, I had done all of those. It is a labor-intensive course. I mean, it's like hours. There's questions on the language. And if you're familiar with Hawaiian languages, the Hawaiian language, there are like 5 letters, and they managed to take 29 of those and make one word. It's ginormous. And you have to learn that, or at least part of that, for the Hawaii course. And so you learn all of these really cool things, and it really does help you understand the history, the culture, the heritage of the islands. But it doesn't help you sell them. Because the first question without fail that I would get is, this looks great. Have you been there? I will never lie to a client. So I'd be like, no, but I have completed all of the, never mind. Didn't want to talk to me anymore. Now, that's not to say Hawaii is kind of a special exception. People like to work with people who have been there. It tends to, any major trip in Hawaii for most people on the East Coast is a major trip. You're on an airplane for 12 flipping hours. Big trips to Europe, ABDs. Like, if people are going to lay down a chunk of money, they want to know that you know what you're talking about. Best way to do that is to take the trip. And maybe it's not something that you want to do as a family. Maybe you're just not hiking your family of 10 on a plane to Hawaii. I can understand that. It's a lot of money. Maybe a fam is the right option. Maybe you want to close that ABD, but you can't figure out how. Find a babysitter, and I understand that ABDs don't come up. They come up with travel agent rates. FAMs and AEPs for Disney are a different beast. You're simply not going to get them. I'm not going to lie to you. But look at it and see if you can't take that trip, because a fam is a great choice for an area, a resort, a region that you quote often, but you just can't close the sales on. So if you quote a ton of sandals, let's say you're quoting all the sandals all the time, and you quote, let's say you quote 10 sandals in a month, and you close maybe one, you should probably go see a sandals, and you should probably go see what they're about. Because clients want somebody who knows what they're talking about. You speak with more confidence. And at that point, there's some disconnect that you're not getting from a CSS training, that you're not getting from just learning about it from a computer screen or a person talking in front of a classroom. So the FAMs are a great option for places that you want to close. Questions? But you have homework, because you know Mel loves her homework. I want you to make your list for the agency retreat. Yeah, I will come back to that point in 1 second. Actually, nope, I'm going to address the point now. Ryan is our BDM. Sherry is our group's BDM. They contact Patricia and I would probably say 2 to 3 times a month. These are the FAMs that are coming up, and they will coordinate with other local BDMs so that we have the opportunity for FAMs, for sandals and beaches. You must be active CSS. So you have to have completed, and I know they don't have one in Boise. I am aware. We talked to Ryan every single visit about this. So sorry. But in fact, Ryan has said that he will look, and he does specifically keep an eye out for ones that will offer that training course on island. So if you are not CSS trained and you want to do one of these, let us know, because occasionally they will pop up where they will do the training on island. But for most of them, for the CFAM, so the Sandals Educational Experience, there are a bajillion of them. They are in the portal. Those you do have to be CSS trained. And the C ones are run by Sandals. Those are corporate. So you will have to be CSS trained. You don't buy your airfare until you're confirmed. They're pretty good about that. You do have to, you do have to buy the travel insurance. So really a CSS or a CFAM will cost you airfare to the island it's on. So Ryan and Sherry is the group's manager, like I said. She has been doing probably one every 6 weeks or so an on-site groups FAM on property on one of the resorts. It varies from which one to which one. So if you have an interest in that, let us know. Ryan has hosted several, and I don't know that there's a visit or a phone call that Patricia and I have had with him where he hasn't asked, why haven't we seen you on island? Why haven't we seen your agents on island? So if that is something you are interested in, I do recommend it. And I recommend, honestly, I would love to take the CFAM to Jamaica. It doesn't help me. I've seen it. So you want to do that. You want to kind of find your weak spot. St. Lucia for me is that island that, okay, we're going to address Chelsea's issue here in a second. St. Lucia is the island that I sell it a lot, but I know nothing about it. So for me, a CFAM to St. Lucia makes sense. So kind of think about it like that. So one thing to keep in mind, they are not open to partners. It is a solo go. So as much as I know that, what you can do is go down, do your fam and then have your significant other or spouse meet you after, or do a vacation before and then have them leave and you stay. So you can do it that way, but they are for agents only. And they have, there's been, and the reason for that is just because we can't have nice things because people abuse systems and we're using them as vacations. And we already learned at the beginning of this training that yes, you can work in paradise. No, it's not a vacation. All right. So your list for the agency retreat. One second. Okay. Did it freeze on me? There we go. I want you to think of your questions for your site inspection. I want you to think of your questions for your ship inspection. And I want you to think of your questions for in-house training. You've been given the topics. So the site inspections, you have the true. You cannot harass guests to book with you. And Sandals actually makes you sign a code of conduct that prevents that. I wish Disney would. In any case, I digress. And if you ever set up a little tent in Fort Wilderness and you are running your travel agency out of Disney, I will be the person who goes to the BDM and says, excuse me? True story, happened a couple of years ago. So your questions for the site inspections, you have your itinerary, you know what hotels we're seeing. So you know that you should be going online and at least looking at them. So I know that I have my questions. Questions for the ship inspection, which, you know, we're not, there's no way on God's little green earth we're going to be able to see all of that ship. It's just not going to happen. But questions about the inspection, questions about things that clients have asked you that you're like, I don't really know. Ask them, write your questions down and see if they don't answer them along the way. And if they do, awesome, you have your answers. And if they don't, ask your questions. Questions for in-house training. Again, we've posted what they are. There are 4 topics. There are now actually 5 topics. So there is a marketing session, marketing forum. There is marketing materials and e-brochures. There, I don't have my list in front of me. There is social media. And I would love Patricia to chime in because I am absolutely blanking out on the way. Can you tell which ones I've already written up the training on? Oh, Lord. It's not going to come to me right now. Yeah, I got nothing. But it's in the itinerary, which is not sitting in front of me either. So look at those. Figure out what questions you have. Figure out, and if you have specific questions that you're like, well, it's not for the site or the ship inspection, for the in-house training. If you have specific questions that you think are not really pertinent to other agents, but are questions about your marketing plan or your use of social media. Communications, that's what it is. I said marketing plan. Marketing plan, communications, social media, and e-tools. Ha-ha! There we go. Client communication is on my list today after we're off this training to finish up. Perfect, thank you. If you have questions that are specific to you, then, just write them down and find a time to talk to Patricia or myself during the retreat. The other thing that we're doing in the last 2.5 weeks, Patricia and I have gotten a bunch of questions that are kind of more basic, that are, I'm going to say a combination of best practices and basic answers. So we're going to set aside some time for that. What I do want, and what I realized is, they're like, well, I didn't want to ask the question. So here's the thing. If you have a question and you want to be truly and totally anonymous, where I have no idea who it came from, create a throwaway Gmail account. It can be bobsbellybuster@gmail.com. and shoot me make sure that the title of it is Simple Luxuries Retreat, or it will go in my garbage can. And shoot me an email from that. You know, it can be entirely and fully anonymous if you want it to be. So create a throwaway Gmail account and shoot me your question, and then delete the account. Once you've said your piece, let it go. And so we will answer your questions. We're going to go over some of the questions that we have gotten so that you have that information, because we figure if one person's asking, probably not alone in their questions. So I have talked way more than usual. I hope that this all makes sense. If you have any questions, I am open. Feel free to pop them in the comments on Facebook. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing anybody writing anything. So I am going to go with, I hope you all have a great week. I will see most of you 1 week from today down in Orlando. So I wish everyone safe travels. Don't forget, we have an all hands call on Monday at noon. So some kind of big news. Going over the basics of numbers, sales, communications, etc. And I look forward to talking to you then. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Oh, Monday is Labor Day, isn't it? This is what happens when you work from home. You have no knowledge of holidays. Huh. Okay. So we might be retooling the Monday all hands meeting. So stay tuned. Patricia and I will have to talk. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.